Hello everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of I Cast Fireball, an actual play 5e D&D adventure where we play through the campaign Tyranny of Dragons. I'm Thomas, and I'm your DM for this adventure. We have...
Malamara,
Lance Thalen,
and Fleeple.
Our adventurers set off southeast to find proof that the prisoners were alive and bring them back alive for a reward of 250 gold pieces per adventurer if they were successful. Now, they made good time with Fleeple leading them on the trail until the sun was about to set, where Lance, shockingly, was able to lead them towards a secluded clearing where they could rest for the night. While on watch, Mal noticed smoke curling upwards not too far from their camp and decided to investigate. It was at this time that she was visited by a mysterious figure, where a discussion ensued on the gifts that they had given her, and that she had better use them or else they might be taken from her and given to another. Now, after discovering the inhabitants of a nearby camp, she woke her fellow comrades and got lectured by Lance, who then, after the two other party members went to sleep, immediately went to go investigate. Well, after confirming what Mal had seen, and surprisingly failing a stealth roll, Lance did his best to push away his past that seemed to be catching up with him as he had thrown his lot in with the two individuals he now was watching over. Couldn't seem to shake the whispers that he had been hearing, in particular the whispers he had heard earlier that day in the town of Greenest. The final watch, Fleeple, taking over, he discovered enemies stalking up to the camp, and a battle ensued with one member getting completely disintegrated by a moonbeam, which Ned and I realized, surprisingly, moonbeam, you don't do damage immediately when you cast it, but they had such low health, they still would have been disintegrated anyway, so... With Lance and Fleeple both catching cultists alive, Lance questioned his privately about the blacksmith, and then after receiving a response, slit the throat of the cultist and made his way back to the one that was left alive. So, we come back to Mal and Fleeple standing over this cultist, and Lance following quickly behind, being just a few seconds behind them. This cultist recently being brought back to life from Fleeple and healing word on him, just breathing, just panting, looking at both of you. There's an arrow in his side that he's holding on. I believe this was one of the humans, because there was a half-orc, an elf, and then two humans. So this is one of the humans, and is just staring at both Mal and Fleeple wide-eyed.
And I'm actually feeling, pretty happy about this situation. We got him to agree to give us some information. So I've got a big old smile on my face. I'm still, kind of patting his wounds, trying to comfort him, and I'm like, all right, thank you very much for your kind donation of your information. Now, obviously you guys are out here doing something sort of unsavory. What are you all about?
We were just trying to make our way back to the camp. Just trying to get back and join up with the others,
The others?
Yeah, well, just we got left behind and tried to plunder a little bit too much and came up empty-handed, so we were forgotten about, and we were trying to make our way back.
Oh, you flew too close to the sun. I know what it's like to be left behind and forgotten about, don't you worry, and I just pat the side of his face in what I try to make a comforting gesture.
Please don't hurt me.
Oh, now don't you worry. We're on the same team now. So, perhaps you can give us a bit more information about these other individuals, about this camp that you're working your way back towards.
Obviously you are aware that Greenest was attacked. I imagine that's where you came from?
Yes, I used to have a job, but it was kind of a dump, so I decided to get up and leave, take a new direction with my life.
Well, we have a camp here, not too far, just about a good half a day, and that's where we were going.
Well, you know what? It's just the luckiest thing. We're actually heading right over there. Perhaps you can, come along with us. You can give us a bit of guidance.
I'd really rather not. I can tell you where it's at, but I would rather not join you, if you will. I almost died from you folk, and at this point, Lance, actually way before this point, I apologize, you would have come up only being 30, maybe 60 feet away from this whole conversation. And he looks at you as you approach, and so I really appreciate just being let go so I can go on my way and not die.
That's a little bit of a problem with that. Lance, if this gentleman doesn't come along with us, what are his options?
Well, his options are to lead the way, or we dispatch of him again, like I did the first time.
And you saying it like the first time, he looks at the arrow on his side, looks at your bow, and goes, well, look, I don't know if I'll be much of use to you. I'm not really a part of the cult, so I don't really have a lot of sway or can't really throw my weight around a lot over there, and but I can give you clear directions on where the camp is, so it would be as if I were there, and we can just call it good.
I'm really just looking out for you here, my friend, giving you the opportunity to maybe join us for a bit. I can't control my friend with the daggers here. I've tried, but he has a mind of his own. So I'm just trying to give you the best opportunity that's going to maybe make you survive.
Well, I suppose if I, not being given much of a choice here, well, I suppose I would be pleased to lead you to...
Fleeple, sidebar, if you will, over here.
Oh, yes, of course. We'll be right back.
Mal will stand guard over him with her arms folded.
Fleeple, I don't think it's wise for us to bring him. I think that he's just a liability. We already know where we're going. And I honestly think we should just kill him like I did the first time.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was talking to him about.
I don't see... I know what you're offering him, but I don't see the value he gives us. If anything, he could escape and warn them that we're coming.
That is a good point.
And there are other kobolds that are still back at where they were camping, according to what Mal said.
Well, that's true, but they should all die.
Well, yet... Fleeple, why do you think they should die, but not him?
Well, you see, there's this thing about my kind. It's tricky. It's mired in, centuries, possibly millennia of, acting in the service of, one of the evilest entities to ever exist in the greater planar cosmology. And, occasionally one of us will find a bit of the light, but these ones have proven pretty well that they're not of the same sort of persuasion as I am, by, allying themselves with Tiamat, destroying innocent people and their livelihoods, that kind of thing.
Wasn't this human doing the exact same thing?
Well, yes, that's... Here's what I am all about. People, you judge them by what they do, not necessarily by what they are. It's easy for people to look at a kobold and say, oh, evil, evil, destroy, 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 and I know it sounds like that's what I'm doing, but I'm looking more at the merits of these individuals. These, they're allied with Tiamat. They're the people who went and tried to destroy Greenest. They've already proven that they got bad stuff going on, bad juju inside that dome,
Okay.
Well, he's trying to, make a deal with us.
But wouldn't one of the kobolds try and make a deal? I'm not seeing... I don't want this to get into a philosophical argument. I'm sorry. I'm just confused by who you're letting live and who you're letting die.
Okay, let's give this a little try. We'll find the kobolds, we'll keep one of them alive, and we'll try and make a deal with the kobold and see what it does.
Well, that's the thing, Fleeple. I don't think we need to make a deal with any of them. I think we can just find it on our own. Sorry, I'm not seeing the benefit.
You know what? I'm not sure I am either anymore. This is getting too confusing. Do you want to kill him or should I kill him?
That's the answer to all deep theological discussions. It's just you know what? Too deep. Should they die? Yep.
Well, Lance is, he's making Fleeple consider things that he hasn't considered before, and suddenly he's faced with these psychological questions, and he's like, holy cow, I don't have the answer to this, and I'm very uncomfortable. Let's just get rid of the problem, and that'll fix everything.
Well, let's have all three of us agree, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise for our audience, Fleeple doesn't actually know what he's doing.
Lance will turn to Mal and go, Mal, here, Fleeple, I'll talk to Mal. You guard him for a second.
All right.
And I tag out Mal, like we're in a middle school basketball game or something.
Mal?
Yes?
Come here, if you will. I'm not seeing... Okay, first off, I'm a little concerned about Fleeple's morals.
Just now. After everything that's been happening, you're just...
Well, it
now?
felt like he knew what he was doing, but now I don't think he knows what he's doing.
So I just imagine Fleeple at this point, just nervous sweat just coming out of his scales.
Yeah.
I know dragons can't sweat,
Just looking at this human's throat like, should I? Anybody?
Fleeple's staring at this guy, and he's like, every other second he's like, I'm going to talk to him. No, don't talk to him. I'm going to disembowel him. No, should I play a game of cards with him or something? Fleeple is he just has absolutely no idea what to do right now.
All the while, his hands are just slowly raising into the air. What do I do with my hands? What do I do with them?
So, anyway, Mal, I don't see the benefit of keeping this fellow alive, and, interestingly enough, you're the most moral person right now in the group, so I think we should kill him, because I see no benefit, I only see risk.
Well, he's tied up on the ground and like an inch from death. He could give us scout reports. He could tell us where the prisoners are, how many prisoners there are.
I think he's told us everything that he's got. He doesn't know anything.
He hasn't about what he's got.
What I heard was he hasn't made it back to the camp yet, so he doesn't know anything about the camp. And so taking him along with us is literally just, in my mind, a liability. We let him lead us, he could escape, and then warn them.
At this point, the cultist goes, I actually know quite a bit about the camp. You just haven't asked me anything.
Wait, I thought he said he hadn't been back yet.
Oh, no, he hasn't been back yet.
But they were there before they came and attacked Greenhurst. That makes so much more sense why you were so confused. Because I was like, we haven't asked him anything yet.
Well, it just felt like everything was being said. He was just like, I don't know anything. So, we haven't been back. We got lost. So I'm just a little sheep.
He was just trying to get out of there. If he could find a quick way to duck out, then yeah. But I had him roll a perception check to see if he could overhear this. And he's like, actually, I know quite a bit. I was there before Greenest, so yeah, please don't kill me.
I lean down to him and I'm like, they probably should have moved a bit further away, shouldn't they have?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've got pretty good ears too, so it's like 20/20 hearing. Ha 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 ha.
You like cheese?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Back to the important stuff.
He seems pretty nervous. I think that we could intimidate him into some information, and then, depending on the information, maybe we...
I'm going to be full honest with you right now, Mal. They found us because of me.
It wasn't me?
It wasn't you. It was me. I snuck away, and I think they followed me back. And I know I did something that I told you not to do, and I don't want any more liability happening, because I almost killed us if Fleeple wouldn't have noticed that, and I don't want to be responsible, and I don't want this to be responsible for getting us in trouble. I went against my own advice, and it's advice that I have told myself that I have to follow, and I just don't want us dying over some stupid mistake that we thought we were okay with something, or we thought we were safe when we're not.
At this point, Lance, before Mal can respond, you hear in your own mind just somebody responding, a woman's voice speaking to you, saying, "We all can learn from ourselves."
What'd you say? What?
Well, I was just saying that I think that I agree with your liability, but I feel like
No.
maybe
You said something else. What did you say?
What? I'm telling you what I was saying. I was saying that maybe we should keep this guy alive and just... Are you okay? Did you hear something? And Mal will look around nervously.
I just want us to be safe. You take the lead on this. I need to back off. And I'll just walk away a little bit.
Hey, wait. And I'll grab his arm before he can walk away. Why don't we interrogate him really quick, take a quick walk around, use your sneakies, and make sure the kobolds didn't follow you back. Don't go too far, but give us a perimeter.
Yes, I will do that. Yes, that's a good job to be safe. Yes.
She'll let his arm go and go back to Fleeple.
I've got some Gruyere. I've got some Pecorino Romano.
And this is all he took from the inn, too. He just hoarded cheese.
Bevan was a cheese connoisseur, and that is just years of work that Fleeple stole.
The only truly good thing about that man.
Many people have wine cellars. He had a cheese cellar. Yeah, that's why his alcohol wasn't very good at that first episode.
A cheese drawer.
Oh, excuse me, I forgot you were married to Heather.
My wife does love her cheeses.
Yep. Oh, Kelly has spawned off of that for sure. She always whenever we get a good cheese, she always cuts it and she's like, this is something me and Heather would have craved in college.
Well, as you're shoving cheeses into this man's face, very Grinch style, Mal, you come up, and Lance, you break off to go scout for the kobolds, correct?
Yes.
So let's just roll for Lance here.
Sneak, or what am I doing here?
Depends. Do you want to just...
I am sneaking because I don't want to alert them. Yeah. But I also need probably perception too because I'm watching out for them.
Yeah, so go ahead and roll your stealth first here, which I believe you get advantage due to your boots.
14.
Okay. And now go ahead and roll a perception check as well.
Okay. Holy, that was 1. You know what? I'm going to use my inspiration dice.
Yeah, remembering inspiration.
Yeah, I've held on to that for a while, and I know I should have maybe used it in a crucial battle, but I felt like I was being a little too hoardy with it, so I will try it with this, and that is perception. Not the best, but 11.
11, okay. So, as you stealth, and it does take you a little bit of time because, like I said, it was about a quarter mile away, and you are super trying to make sure intently that you are not going to be seen this time around. So you sink down to the ground, almost crawl at points, and the moon is still high in the sky. It's shining and reflecting everywhere. It's pretty clear. It's a pretty clear night. Occasional clouds, but not much. And so as you slink towards the location where the kobolds were, you find the camp completely deserted.
Ah, crap.
You find that there is still the fire pit that the humanoids were around, but it's been kicked out, put out, and you see the 2 humans, the half-orc, and the elven belongings here. But you go over to where the kobolds were, and other than some matted down grass, some scraps of food quickly discarded, it appears that there's no sign of them.
Can I try and see tracks or where they were going, if I could see which direction they took off in?
You certainly can. Let's do that after we get back from Mal and Fleeple. Fleeple is gingerly or forcefully feeding cheese to this individual.
The manchego, you like that one, huh?
It's pretty good, you know.
The human became Kermit.
I prefer more of the fly-infested cheese, Miss Piggy.
Mal will gingerly pull Fleeple back and just quietly tell him that what Lance was doing. And then she'll squat down next to this individual, say, you're from the cultist camp?
Yeah, I mean, I'm from the cultist camp. I've been there for about 6 months now, so...
Has the camp always been in the same place for the past 6 months? Or have you guys been moving around?
Mickey, go ahead and roll me a persuasion or some sort of charisma check here.
Sure. Because I got that. Persuasion? Non-natural 20.
Okay. Well, since I joined up 6 months ago, we've just been in this one location, and camp had been set up a little bit before then, and it's grown quite a bit since I've joined, which is great. I mean, not not great, but just.
My question is, have you been there for the past 6 months, or have you been moving around?
No, we have not been moving around. We've been making raids. There have been raids on smaller, like farm developments, but Greenest is the biggest place that we hit.
So your encampment is a base where you guys have been stationed for 6 months or more.
Yes, it is. It is. Not everybody goes out at the same time either, and some people stay behind. And
do you have scouts out around?
Yeah, I mean, we have scouts. We have people who are making sure that we're not being sneaked up upon, and we have people getting food as well to feed our camp. It's actually a pretty difficult job to make sure everybody gets fed every day. So, yeah, I mean, we have people out and about, but nobody really goes out very far unless we're going on a raid. So,
do you do scouts all day and all night, or just during the night?
Honestly, I don't know the full details of the scouts. I know at night we're on really high alert, but during the day people are kind of coming and going a lot, so especially after a raid, and stragglers are not uncommon, so it'd be foolish to not have scouts during the day, but
How do you gain new recruits to the cult?
Oh, well, we have recruiters that go out, mainly in... I actually was in Baldur's Gate, and when I came across a recruiter, she was quite persuasive, and definitely didn't hide that she was recruiting for the cult either, so it seemed like a good direction for me. I was either going to be in prison or dead in Baldur's Gate, as you might be aware of that city. So, this seemed like a good, long-term option for me, and here I am.
Do you have to come into camp with a recruiter? Or how do you gain access to your camp? Just the symbol? Just your cloak?
I mean, when I got to camp for the first time, it was just, I just had a writ that came, but some people, that was just to make sure that I wasn't, immediately put on dishwasher duty, that was something I worked out with my recruiter, and but I mean, we have people walking into camp every so often and trying to prove themselves, and
How do you mean prove yourself?
Well, I told you I don't have a lot of weight in camp, and that's because I'm not technically an initiate of the cult yet. I'm, so to speak, an apprentice, or in training. There's a level of proving that you have to do before you actually become a dragon claw, as they call it. It takes a while to become a dragon claw, and to be truly part of the ranks, and there is a proving period, and you have to impress either the leader of the camp, or a higher dragon claw, or a dragon fang, or before you are allowed to be given your official garb and things like that. So
I have a very important question I want you to think very hard about before you give me your answer. Are prisoners taken from the raids?
Yes, they are.
Where are they kept in your camp? Mal, on the ground right in front of him, Mal will take a finger and draw a circle, so you don't know what the camp necessarily looks like. And then where's south of it, right?
You were north of the camp.
Okay, so north of the camp, just a little bit, I'll just draw an X. We're up here, here's your camp. Where in camp do they hold the prisoners?
During the day or during the night?
That is an excellent question. During the day.
The prisoners are put on some of the more menial jobs during the day, and they're usually under guard, and so they can be all about the camp. But typically, and he is tied up, but he gestures, if near the mouth of the camp, if you will, where most of the lesser folk live. They perform services, they stay there, they live there, and under night, that's where most of them are held as well. Mondath, however, she sometimes keeps certain prisoners closer to the wall of our camp, which is in the back, for special treatment, as she calls it. So,
Fleeple, as we've been talking, is there anything else that you have thought of? Any question that you might like to ask?
And I lean in really close to Mal and I say, "But I just don't know if we can kill this guy now that we know all about his life story."
That wasn't my question. Fleeple, and she'll just lean real, like a child, put her hands on his little shoulders. Fleeple, is there a question you would like to ask him about the cultist camp?
I feel like there should be.
Well, while you think about that, Lance, let's go back to you. Lance, you would like to try and track where these kobolds went, correct?
Alrighty. Yes, I'm tracking the kobolds.
Okay, so go ahead and roll me a survival check.
Survival. I'm suddenly feeling very survivally.
Yeah, from the previous day, you should have that.
I still have it as an ability.
Great. Go ahead and roll for a survival check.
Man, my rolls are terrible tonight. That's a 5. Yeah, not good. So yeah, I rolled a 5.
So in the moonlight, it's pretty clear the area around you. But similar to what you've been feeling in the past 24 or 36 hours here, you are unnerved, particularly at what Mal had said earlier, or what you feel Mal had said. But you're looking in the grass, you're trying to find a direction, and all you can tell is that the kobolds left in a hurry. That was pretty much all you can get.
I'm going to go over to the bags that from the 4 humanoids had left behind, their personal belongings, and I want to just look through and search for anything.
Great, roll me an investigation check.
All right, come on. That's sucky rolls all night. Hey, that's better. That is a 21.
So, Lance, as you are rifling through their bags, their sleeping bags, not a whole lot of things that are of value here. Some of them just seem to be some personal effects. For instance, you find a letter written in human script, or common script, if you will. You find 5 silver amongst everything there. You find a glass eye in a bag that is not well packed. It just kind of looks like it was thrown in there. And you're curious how it didn't break up to this point. And you find a box. You just find a wooden box. It's pretty unornamented.
Can I, is there a lock on it?
There's a latch, but it's not locked necessarily.
Just because I want to be careful, can I check for traps?
Sure.
Natural 20.
No traps on this one.
I'll open it.
Okay. As you open it up, there seems to be an unusual sight here. You find a creature inside of this box. And mind you, this isn't bigger. It's about the size of your hand, right? So as you open it up, you see a wriggling worm in it.
I'll close it really fast.
Okay.
Interesting. A worm? What the crap? I will close the box, make sure it's latched properly. Even maybe take a bit of string that I have, I don't know, somewhere, or just cut off, or even cut off a little piece of the whatever is around camp to make a piece of string. And I'll cut that off and I will tie it around, just around the latch, just to make sure it's very secure. Because that seems really weird to keep a worm in a box unless something's really weird about it. And I will head back to the group. Oh, and I'll also, while I'm heading back, I'll read the letter if there's any pertinent information that could be helpful to us.
Okay. It's kind of hard to read it in the moonlight, even though a lot of things are illuminated. But you've got dark vision, so yeah, you should be able to read it. That's fine. We'll get to that later.
Okay. Box with worm. Adding that to inventory.
Yeah, I've seen enough sci-fi to know what's going to happen if we let this thing get inside somebody's head.
Fleeple, you've just asked Fleeple if there's anything that he would like to ask about the camp. Fleeple, anything?
3 things. The blue dragon, Lenathon. Have you seen it?
Was that its name? Oh, no, I've never seen that dragon, in camp, but... And as you are staring at this individual's eyes, they get like a distant look, and their pupils dilate a little bit, and they say, "But that dragon was a majestic sight, don't you think? I mean, that was to see something with that much power and that just the intensity of it. I'm sorry. No, I've never seen that dragon before in my life."
I feel like this warrants an insight check.
Go ahead and roll an insight check.
Yeah, I'm going to give myself guidance on that.
As you mutter unto yourself while he's saying this.
That's going to be a 17.
17? Okay. A couple things that you notice. This individual you're really giving him a once-over here, and as you've had more time to observe them during this interrogation, they do seem quite weak, quite frail. And they don't seem to have any sort of strength that is quite obvious to you. But what you do tell, just from this comment in particular, that this individual is really moved by the image of this dragon that they were able to see. And although this person was feigning, not necessarily feigning, but was, trying to get out of this situation and is giving up this information, it does appear that their drive or there was a reason they joined the Cult of the Dragon, if that makes sense. It wasn't just something to do. It was something did call them to this.
Does this sort of sense of devotion and worship remind me of any of the attitudes that I would see in the other kobolds back in my clan?
Yeah, it definitely would. That sort of devotion, where in your clan there were some that were blindly obedient. There were those in the upper leadership of your cult that were devout, if you will. And that sort of the devoutness you can see in this individual as well. So you can see the poisoning of his mind to want to give of themselves and to be a part of this journey with these chromatic dragons.
So I get kind of a knot in my stomach as I sort of remember those feelings from back before I left the clan. I kind of go,
all right, dragon doesn't show up at the camp much. Second thing, we're looking for a traveling monk, a scholar by the name of Leosin. Is there any chance that you've met this individual?
Is he part of the cult, or is he a member, or...?
We believe he was taken prisoner by the cult.
Oh, well, if he was taken before Greenest, I don't remember seeing anybody like that, but if they were taken at Greenest, like I said, I haven't been back to camp yet, but it's possible that they could have been taken in Greenest.
All right, that's the only important NPC that I know about who might be a prisoner at this location. The third thing,
I don't remember if it's Fleeple or Mal who has that metal pendant that we found, the one that had sort of the winged serpent on it.
I do.
Malamara, show our friend that pendant he found where your caravan went missing.
She'll kind of reach around and, here it is in my pouch, pull open the pouch and hand it to Fleeple.
Does this mean anything to you? Have you seen this symbol?
Remind me real quick. I've got a couple pendants floating around. Do we have a little bit more of a description on this?
What I have written down, it was a medallion of a quote-unquote winged snake found in the Greenest field under the caravan.
Oh, okay.
Are these the pendants of the cult, or just the one Mal found specifically?
No, it's the one that I found under my caravan where they were.
Because, all of the dragon pendants are kind of that sort of triangular gemstone thing.
As you show this pendant to this individual, they're squinting at it. They look at it a little bit close and go, nothing seems to come to my mind right now. I'm sorry. I know we have a lot of pendants in our cult, but that doesn't look like one necessarily.
Oh, you're telling me.
And I pull out both of the other cultist pendants that I've collected.
And he sharp intake of breath and just stops talking for a little bit. And is just staring wide-eyed at both of those pendants.
Do these pendants mean something different to you?
Different in what way?
Well, you seemed rather shocked, or perhaps maybe surprised to see these. Most of the cultists that we've run into currently have these. Do you not have one of these?
Well, I mentioned before, I'm trying to get into the cult, and it just looks like you've taken out some actual cultists.
Ah, yes. Yes, the one who had this pendant.
I pull out the one that I got from the individual who was leading the raid outside the temple, and I pull it out, this double-chained pendant with a blue stone, very fancy-looking, presumably, very official-looking.
Yes, the individual who had this pendant went down pretty hard, but went down in the end regardless.
Oh, well, it's nice to know exactly who I'm dealing with here.
And it's nice to know exactly who I'm dealing with.
And I lean in close, and I pull out my holy symbol of Bahamut and hold it out in front of me as I get it up in his face, and I say...
He immediately starts to try to get away from that symbol a little bit. Like, it's obviously not going to do damage to him, but he just doesn't want to be near it.
Ah, yes, we see how it is. We see exactly how it is.
And I just don't say anything else. I put my pendant back, and I go a little bit a ways off and sit down on a rock and just stare at him.
At this time, Lance, you'll probably have made your way back to the group at this point.
I will approach. And... Wait, so Fleeple has walked away?
I imagine not too terribly far, right? Just a little bit.
Yeah, as he comes back towards where we originally were, I'm sitting on a rock, and I've got a little scroll that I have unrolled on my lap that I'm just kind of staring at.
I'll walk up to Fleeple and I'll just be like, looks like the kobolds you were so eager to kill have run away fairly quickly. I don't know if they know we were here or not, but they are gone. And what are you reading there?
I don't know if Lance can read Draconic, but that's the language that this scroll is written in. It's kind of a shaky handwriting. There's not a lot of writing on it, just a couple simple phrases. And I roll it up quickly and I go,
oh, just a little prayer that I keep in my heart.
Could I have caught any of that?
It sounded like there were fragments of it, but I'll have you roll a perception check. It'll be a low DC, though.
Okay, that's perception 14.
Yeah, so that should be enough to pick up probably one of the phrases or a sentence in there. Fleeple, if you wanted to, or Ned, if you'd like to share maybe one of the something that is on there for Jacob here.
Yeah, so does Lance understand Draconic?
Not previously, but somehow the Draconic is transforming for him to be able to read.
So, Lance, you recognize these words as a phrase which Fleeple has repeated fairly frequently, generally after he kills a kobold or someone affiliated with the dragon cult. He will recite the prayer, Bahamut Iothrasvim Klax Loer Chikik Malsfir Vrak, which roughly translates to, Bahamut, accept this holy offering as penance from a child of sin.
Bahamut, child of sin. Sorry, how did I... And I'll say that, because I don't know exactly off the top of my head, but you hear Lance repeat what he saw in Draconic. And then I'll just be like, wait, child of sin, what did I just say? I'm sorry. I'll just walk away. Really freaked out. How did that happen?
And at the exact moment that Lance goes off in one direction, I jump off the rock and start going in the other direction.
So Mal, you're left with this cultist by yourself.
No, I'm walking. I veer. I'm sorry. I should have said I veered away quickly to go to Mal, and I'm just what the crap was that?
So upon Lance's return, Mal will grab the cultist kind of by the back of his shirt or his cloak, whatever, and she'll pull him forward and lay him. I'm trying to describe how this, lay him flat on the ground on his stomach so that his hands are tied behind him and his feet are tied and he can't move from that position.
This really hurts.
And she will walk toward Lance, away from the guy.
So yeah, Lance just walks up to Mal, but he's still like kind of like looking back toward like where Fleeple was and being like, Are
you okay tonight? What's going on?
Just I think I didn't get enough sleep. I did what you said. I scouted around and the kobolds are gone, and I don't know exactly where they took off to. I imagine back to their camp. I went through some of the belongings that were left, and I have a question for our cultist friend here.
Okay.
And he'll just look back toward Fleeple again, or where Fleeple went off to, and be like, yes, okay. And he'll walk toward the cultist.
Mal will accompany him.
Hi there. Hi. I'm having kind of a rough night. So I need you to answer quite honestly. I was very much advocating to slit your throat, so if you could give me a very honest answer, you might be able to avoid that. What is this? And I hold up the box.
That? Oh. I don't know. Am I supposed to know this?
It was found in your camp, and there's a worm in it, and I'm wondering what it is. I could put it on your face if you'd like, but I would before you tell me.
I don't. I've never seen it before. I don't know.
By the way, did I read anything in that letter?
Oh, yes. As you were reading the letter, it was a letter from one of the individual's mother.
The human, or was it the elf?
It was the other human, yes.
The other human who died. Okay.
Saying to the effect of like, so glad you're at the academy. Can't wait to hear about all of the magic you've been learning. Your father and I couldn't be prouder. Please try to come home for the fall harvest or whatever. So
okay, just like a casual letter. Cool. Okay. Well, you of no use to me. And I will stand up.
I might have a plan. Let's grab Fleeple, and we'll leave this cultist right here. I want to know what you guys think about this plan before we do anything else with the cultist.
Well, we should watch him.
I agree. So let's go over by that rock, or you can go grab Fleeple, whatever. I want to walk through the specifics of this plan and then see what we want to do.
I will go get Fleeple then.
Mal will wait by the rock, and through this whole conversation, I would like to keep an eye on the cultist, just making sure that his hands aren't trying to cut himself out, or like watch his hands specifically for him trying to escape with his hands.
I rolled really well to tie him up, so I don't think you'll need to worry about that.
Wasn't it like a 7 or something?
I'm not going to incriminate myself.
Anyway, so yeah, so like the reason I put him on his stomach was that he couldn't try and like lean down and try and untie his legs easily. So if he got his hands out, his legs would still be tight. So that's what Mal's watching for, is any sign of that.
Got it. For the sake of brevity, you all come together with the cultists in eyesight. So you're all brought together.
Okay, I have a plan, and it might be really crazy, but I want to know what you guys think about it. Or if you have other suggestions, that would be great. So this guy was talking about dragon claws and initiates and people coming to and being recruited by the cult. What if we pretended to be that? What if we tried to be cultists, and then we get to walk into camp, we see where the scouts are, we see where the slaves are, we could maybe try and ask around for the monk, or maybe Ardina's dad, maybe find the people we're looking for without running in guns blazing, because he said that that's their HQ, and I have a feeling that's going to be, I thought that was going to be like 20 people, and maybe we just like sneak in and sneak out, but it sounds like this is a big operation.
I think that is a good thought. My only concern is bringing him along, because as soon as we enter that camp with him, he could just say, "Oh my gosh, they captured me and killed us all, and oh my gosh," and then we're screwed anyway. So I am again under the impression that it's better to get rid of him.
Yes, that's why we don't bring him along.
I don't think that we should bring him along. But I wanted to ask you guys first if you thought that impersonating cultists might be a way that we wanted to try this.
That's what, if you can recall, that's what I originally proposed at the temple until you kicked in the door. I don't mean to, I'm sorry, I don't mean to hop on you. That was just, I think that's a good idea, and it's what we were originally going to do, and I think that'd be a good idea to try again without kicking in the door.
Yeah. And Fleeple, who's just been staring daggers at the cultist this entire time, is like,
become the enemy to destroy the enemy. I suppose we can work with that.
Not become, it's just to impersonate.
We might be able to find out more information about Mondath, where the prisoners are at.
And I did keep the robe that I took off that archer.
Well, Mal will gesture out with her hand. We have plenty of robes here now.
Well, one of them has a hole through it, and the other one has been charred by a moonbeam. But there is the one that I shot. Yes, so there might be one that's intact. That's true.
Is this crazy? Is this crazy to try and do this?
I think it's a better plan than us either charging in or trying to sneak in and being at a full HQ.
All of you, at this time, out of the corner of your eye, you see the cultist is trying to inchworm away. Just slowly, like, doing this awkward roll and trying to get its feet underneath itself to where he can maybe push himself up. And he doesn't seem to be noticed that you've noticed, but he's just...
We don't need him anymore?
I feel like he is a liability.
Give me a second, and I'll walk over. I'll say, give me a second, come over, Fleeple. And I'll walk over and just kind of stand on him, like, put a foot on him. And I'll turn him over onto his back. And I'll lean down, and I have a knife. I'll take out the ceremonial dagger, appropriate, and I'll put it to his throat. I'll say, a couple more questions for you. When you were in Greenest, did you kill anybody? Be honest.
No, I didn't.
Insight check.
Go ahead and roll.
Oh, it's not great. That's 8.
From what you can gather, the only emotion that this person is portraying is just absolute terror and fear. And so it's hard to gauge if they're being truthful right now or not. No, I swear I was just in charge of making sure the kobolds didn't go crazy and trying to find gold.
But you were okay with them killing everybody?
I didn't want to kill anybody, no.
And I'll just look at Fleeple, kind of like with a look on my face, like, what do you want to do?
You could just let me go. I don't have to go back. I could go to another camp, not this one, and I could just be on my way.
Mal will decidedly look away.
I'm looking at Fleeple like kind of like what do we do?
And I just look Lance directly in the eyes, and I say, Bahamutio thrasvim klax, loer chikik marsvia vrak, and I cast Produce Flame on the cultist.
All right. Without needing to cast their stationary, Lance is there. The flame has been cast, and this individual immediately goes up into flame.
I will stab him quickly so that it will be a quicker death, but it is happening, yeah.
And the cultist is no more. Another sacrifice to Bahamut for a child of sin. All right, well...
I'll just turn to Fleeple and Mal, and I'll just be like, I like to be pragmatic about things. I did feel like we needed to kill him. He was too much of a liability, and from what I could gather, he was too much of an acolyte to this idea, but I don't want to be morbid either, and I know sometimes I can go extreme. Fleeple, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to question your moral compass about things. We need to be careful. We need to be careful about liabilities, but we also need to be careful that we don't go crazy.
And in response to that, I am not looking at either of them, and I say,
I am Teothar, the spawn of Tiamat. It is in my scales. I was born to be a servant of evil, and I was surrounded by it for most of my life. But I don't want to be anymore.
I support you in that. Mal? Malamar?
Mal will remain completely silent with her back to the cultist on fire and just holding the cloak just very tightly around her with the fire at her back.
Mal, do you have anything to add?
You said those kobolds left, so we should probably go find them. Let's get some disguises and let's go.
All right. I know that there's a cultist with a robe somewhere over here. I think it was a good idea that we killed him. Fleeple, and I'll just turn to Fleeple, and Fleeple, this cult that we're after causes pain. We don't need to do the same things they do.
And I kind of just abruptly walk over to Lance and put my arms around his leg, still not looking up at him. And I just say, thanks for not leaving.
Oh, you have all the cheese, so...
He didn't eat all the manchego. We've still got some left.
Oh, good. I wanted some of that on bread later, so... All right.
As Mal walks past the pair, she'll just touch Fleeple lightly and say, thank you for telling us. And she'll go find a robe.
All right. So mechanics-wise, I just wanted to ask, are you wanting to finish your long rest or set off immediately?
I know I've finished a long rest because of my little 4-hour cool elf thing. But, so does everyone else need a rest for a little bit longer to get it?
I would prefer to go follow the cobalt, see if we could pick up on the cobalt scent and see where they went, and then maybe camp outside of the other camp and then go in fully rested rather than stay here and try and do that in the light and let the kobolds get a head start.
I've only used up 2 spell slots, so I'm good with just a short rest.
Yeah, and I'm good too.
Because that pretty much what it would be for everybody but Lance is a short rest. If you were to go without another night's rest, you'd probably get another point of exhaustion as well. But since most of you got a decent amount of rest, we'll go with it from there. So, okay. Well, if you needed to roll hit dice, I don't think anybody had to.
I do not.
That's pretty much it. So you can get on the road again after getting some of the robes. So who would like to lead the tracking of the kobolds?
I can. At least I have some stuff in survival.
And Lance, are you keeping...
That's a good question. No. If we're short resting, I am... All of a sudden, kind of the naturalness that Lance feels in the forest all of a sudden kind of leaves him, and he feels a little bit of a stranger again to this whole idea. He felt like he was perfectly at home, and now he's feeling a little like, ugh, trees, bugs. I have a box with a worm in it. And I am going to actually feel a little bit more... So if we're impersonating, this is very meta, but if we're impersonating cultists... Would that be more of a deception or a performance or a persuasion?
It really just kind of depends on how you approach that conversation. I could see all three being very possible.
Not even conversations, just like walking into the camp, trying to blend in with cultists. Would that be deception or performance-ish?
This is interesting. Yeah, without discussing, without talking to anybody, it might have to be... I would probably say it'd have to be a performance.
Yeah, Lance would very much avoid talking as much as he could.
You're becoming a character at that point of you're not communicating with anybody, and as soon as your words come out of your mouth, that's when the intimidation or deception has to come in. But if you're just going about acting a part, then that would be a performance, so to speak.
Okay, Lance will feel a little bit more of being able to put on a role.
Sounds good. And now that we've got that, who would like to lead the tracking?
I would.
I'll cast guidance on Mal.
Great. So, did we go back to where the kobolds were, like their camp?
Yeah. So you're there. You're at home base. You're at ground zero, so to speak, so that you can breathe it all in, get your bearings, try and track them here. So go ahead and roll a survival check with a guidance roll added to that.
Great.
While she's doing that, if I could, I'm just gonna be like, hey, Fleeple, do you know about? Just because it seems like you're a little bit more at home out here, do you know more about animals or like nature, and just can you identify things easily out here? Do you know anything about animals and calling them out?
About as much as the next man.
Do you know what this is? And I'll untie the box. When I saw the worm, was it like super fast moving, or was it like just like a little grub, like?
I mean, it was just a normal worm wriggling, so to speak, from what you could tell, the quick glance.
I will open it up for like 5 seconds. And
All right. Thomas, what check would you say is most appropriate for trying to analyze this worm?
I'd say a solid investigation check to start off first.
Beautiful. Definitely going to get myself guidance on that.
can I help him in some way? Like, just in talking about the features, like, you see that those little lines on him?
Well, that's going to be a 14.
14. Fleeple, as you really peer your face down, and Lance seems to be pointing out some of the things that he noticed when he looked into it. A couple things to note. This worm seems to be strapped into the box. There's like a little, almost like a latch.
Not a warning sign at all.
And it's just kind of wriggling a little bit as move the box a little bit. And the really unusual part about this is on each end of the worm, there seems to be a little, almost like a paper mache, little head attached to the end of each worm.
Each side of the worm?
Yeah, and the paper mache is a face of a humanoid.
Wait, so there's paper attached to both ends of the worm that look like faces?
Yeah.
So kind of just a little sculpture of a head of sorts?
Yeah, it just it still allows the worm to move back and forth, but the paper has faces on it.
And it's been put onto the worm?
Yeah.
This is so weird.
Yeah, this is really weirding me out.
And so I'll close the box.
Did I recognize either of the faces?
Yeah, with one of them just seemed to be like one of the faces is shaded green, and coming out of the mouth there is appears to be like two little tusks. And on the other side, it appears that the paper face has ears that are more pointed.
Oh gosh.
Do you know what this is?
Well, one of them's a half orc and one of them's an elf.
What the hell? This is one of those times I think I can say that.
I don't know. This is they know who we are, and
did it look like us?
No, not in particular.
Well, and there was a half orc and an elf in that party too. This is weird. Thomas, what the crap are you giving us? I was wanting like a cool dagger or like some money, and you gave us a worm with paper faces.
Hey, you went looking.
It's like the visual of the thermometer. It's raising so high that it just bursts. That's what happened to Fleeple's paranoia gauge.
I don't should I hang on to this or?
Well, I don't get rid of it. I don't want to get out into the world.
Don't stop crying right now. I'm nervous too.
I think we should keep this under wraps until we can figure out what to do with it.
Should we take the faces off or what?
Well, I don't know what if we take the faces off, or is one of you gonna die? I don't know. I don't
whatever
know what to do. Voodoo magic is going on here.
We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
All right, Mal, what was that survival check?
I'm relatching the box.
Want to make it clear, this box is not getting opened.
Tighter than ever before, I'm relatching that box. Oh, it's double knotted now.
Ain't no way that's getting out of there. Okay, so I did not make my survival check because while the boys were fascinated by what appears to be a box, Mal has had this feeling since she ran into her cloaked friend last night on her watch, this archaic symbol in her brain, and she knows that if she writes it on the ground, she'll be able to do something with it. So while they're distracted, I want to ritually cast Find Familiar.
Okay. So how long does that take? I know it's like 10 minutes.
Ritual cast is 10. It's just 10 minutes.
Okay, sounds good. So as the anxiety and the paranoia of this is dying down, you look over and Mal has carved this intricate glyph onto the ground. And just as you look over, she just smacks it with her hand, and it just ignites and lights the surrounding area around you. And Mal, as the glyph dissipates, what do these two individuals see?
Before you is a small pseudo-dragon. It has blue-white scales and very, deep red eyes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just I love the picture of, Fleeple to be like, okay, let's close it. This is weird. Oh my gosh. Mal is summoning dragons now.
Mal will... She's wearing a cloak. She rips her cloak back, and you see all along her left arm are all these really dark, intricate, tribal tattoos. And the familiar looks around and sees them and scurries up her arm and around her neck. I can't believe that worked.
Mal, what is that?
How do I even explain this? Fleeple, Lance, I want you to meet. She'll gesture to the dragon on her shoulder. This is Zaza. My tribe, I grew up hunting with dragons.
You didn't think about bringing that up till now?
I couldn't do it until now. I didn't know that I could do this till now. But now I can. Look at this guy. And I'll scratch him under his little chin.
And you hear this ginormous, it's not ginormous actually, this pseudo-dragon just start to purr. And with the pseudo-dragon, for anybody who doesn't know, the tail is pretty normal when you think of a normal dragon, but at the end of the tail, there's this gigantic, almost ball with a giant spike coming out of it as well. And the ridges on the back of the dragon are pretty sharp spines as well. But the dragon looks at all of you and just...
My family, we would use these to hunt for us. I know other humans use hawks and dogs, but we used to use pseudo-dragons. So I thought maybe if this would work, I'd let him try and find out where those kobolds went. So now she'll give a series of whistles. The dragon will then rise off her shoulders and fly in the direction of the kobolds' fleeing steps.
Friend just flies away.
This is the weirdest 48 hours of my life.
You are not wrong.
I can perceive through my familiar senses. So using the pseudo-dragon senses, can I also use that guidance?
Sure, why not? Do a perception check with guidance here. And you're going to be using your pseudo-dragon stats.
17.
17, okay.
Fleeple, what if we fed the worm to the dragon?
Oh, maybe the dragon would turn into us.
Maybe. Ooh, this is just weird. We need a normal 24 hours just to chill. I feel like a lot's happening.
Mal, you are totally aware of it's a strange sensation, but you tune in with your familiar, and as you do, your vision goes double. You see Lance and Fleeple right in front of you, but then immediately you also see just the trees soaring above them and just weaving in and out, and you hear the rushing of wind just brushing past you as if you were the one flying, but you also hear Lance and Fleeple discussing about how strange the past 40 hours have been. With your 17, you do see, or your pseudo-dragon sees, movement in the trees. And the kobolds are running as fast as they possibly can. Southeast.
I'll relay that to the other two.
And they seem to be quite a ways from you. It's not necessarily close, but they do have quite a distance on you right now.
Do they know that we're coming and they're going to warn, or?
I don't think that they saw me. I don't know if they saw you or just the humanoids saw you.
Are they looking back? Are they trying to check to see if we're following them.
Is that apparent through what I can see?
Would you like to... You'd have to have your pseudo-dragon go closer towards them. Go and roll me another perception check then with your pseudo-dragon stats.
Oh, it's critical fail. Straight up 1.
As your pseudo-dragon goes down just closer and closer to the kobolds, they look up and they notice the pseudo-dragon and they start yelling in Draconic at it, some curses.
The pseudo-dragon understands Draconic and can telepathically send me simple ideas, emotions, or images.
The only thing that you get from your pseudo-dragon is rude.
I can just see these kobolds. Hey, look at that thing! F you! What are you...
You see them, like, one of them getting, like, a bow and arrow, but another one just, like, hits the person getting a bow and arrow out and just... and pointing towards southeast, and they just begin their sprint again.
It looks like they're just running.
Well, if they're dead before they arrive, we don't have to worry about whether they saw us or not.
Are you saying that we catch up to them and kill them?
I thought that's what you said. I mean, I'm all on board for it.
I am too. Let's go.
If we can, yeah, sure, let's go.
And as we're running along, I'm in the rear. I pull out my spoon, and I pull out a tub that's just full of completely melted ice cream, and I just start shoveling it into my mouth anyway.
I like that he brought ice cream. Like that was gonna travel well.
Where did that come from?
Came from Bevan's Tavern.
Look, Bevan got us this map. Like, we could just bring out anything.
50 episodes from now, you're going to need some item, and Fleeple will be like, well, when I raided Bevan's Tavern.
How do we get into this 9th circle of hell? Oh, look, Bevan brought me a little rock that says portal to the 9th circle of hell.
So as each of you start sprinting as fast as you can, Mal, your pseudo-dragon, keeping watch, keeping pace with them, all of you leaving behind some new discoveries, leaving behind the pain that you had recently gone through. Some of you, Fleeple even, leaving behind some possible theological beliefs and discussions as well. And as you sprint as fast as you can, each of you keeping pace with each other, hoping to catch up to the kobolds before anything dangerous happens. That's where we're going to end this week's episode of I Cast Fireball. Alright, didn't expect Pseudo-Dragon to come out this episode, but I'm glad it finally did.
There was a lot that came out
didn't
this
expect
episode.
to come out this episode, yeah.
Fleeple's Crisis of Faith.
The fine cheeses.
Fine cheese, and that was the highlight.
I think the name for an episode could be like moral compasses and cheese drawers. Something like that.
Yes. Canon.
You're not wrong.
Canon. I'm typing it in right now.
Oh boy.
Well, we'll see if our adventurers catch up to the kobolds next time on I Cast Fireball. Thank you so much for listening to our episode this week. As always, we just are very appreciative of you for taking the time out of your day or having us help you go through the workday. And we just really are grateful that you are joining us for this adventure. If you like what we're doing, want to hear more of it, please leave us a 5-star review. As you know, it helps boost our ratings and gets our adventure out to more people who are looking for a worthwhile campaign. If you want to get in contact with us, maybe say hi, ask a question, you can email us at icastfireball2020@gmail.com. All that's lowercase with 2020. Love to hear from you. Love to get the word out a little bit more about our podcasts. Now, to get the most recent up-to-date content from all of us here, follow us on Instagram and Twitter using the handle icastfireball20. There you can get possible sneak peeks of upcoming episodes, interesting insights from players and the Dungeon Master, and behind-the-scenes shots of us making this incredibly fun world. Now, we just want to give a quick shout-out to our sister podcast, Improv Tabletop, where our resident kobold, Ned, takes a turn as a GM and runs through many one-month adventures using the Fate Accelerated tabletop system. Now, whether you like tabletop games, improvisation, or hearing more from Ned, we recommend you go give him a listen. Thanks for listening. As always, I'm Thomas, your DM, and we've got...
Malamara.
Lance Thalen.
And Fleeple.
Good night, everybody.